So when people ask me whether or not or that I'm a med-lab science, I tell people that I'm a medical laboratory scientist, and the first reaction that they have would be, also, you're a scientist in the research field. And I'll say, no, I'm actually in the diagnostics field, the clinical sector. And then they'll say like, whoa. I was like, what does that mean? It sounds intense. And I say, oh, so we're basically just looking and working with real patient samples, handling a lot of confidential information that the general public would not see. I study medical laboratory science because I am the type of person that likes to know what happens behind the scenes. So generally, what the general public will see is that they would go to the doctors, or perhaps they'll have cancer, they'll have the cancer removed. All of that testing will be done behind the scenes. They'll know nothing about it. And at the end of it, all they'll have is basically a report on an A4 piece of paper with a result that they may or may not even understand without the help of a GP, general practitioner, or a pathologist, someone to be able to interpret the result to them. So being a person of curiosity, I did medical laboratory science because I wanted to understand more about what goes on behind the scenes. You know, how many hands does that particular blood sample cross? How many people actually see that sample, process that sample? I just wanted to know, how that sample goes from your body onto a machine to a piece of paper in the end. We have had a handful of good students come in from AUT. The students that generally come in are very enthusiastic about the work that they do. And they ask a lot of questions. They challenge the scientists that are there, which is also good to have, because we want to be able to stay on top of our knowledge. The students from AUT, they're very enthusiastic. They ask a lot of good questions. They're always willing to help out. They're also asking whether or not you need some help with this. What can I do to make your life easier? And I think these are specific characteristics in an individual or a potential employee that we'd like to see working as a scientist, because when you're working as a scientist, one of the key things that we look for is an attention to detail, whether or not you have that, I guess, personal connection with the work that you do, understanding that you are dealing with real patient samples. So having that, I guess, empathetic approach towards your work is also very important, because at the end of the day, what you do now may affect what you do later, and just building good habits, especially when you're on these placements, building good laboratory habits, because every scientist works a bit differently.